ke?
Kurang.
Kurang?
Okay.
Kuat sikit.
Hello?
Alright, okay.
Okey. Sekarang okey.
Ni kan cakap dalam ni boleh lah kan? Kalau buka ni audio ni pun boleh cakap hello? Tak ada, aku tak mau. Tak mute!
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to BTU-BITCOM Sharing Session today entitled Research and Innovation Ideas into Product Patent. Okay, Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us today. This sharing session is actually jointly organized by Business Innovation and Technology Commercialization Center, BITCOM, University Transformation Division, and also TNC PNI office. Okay, just a little housekeeping before we get started. Please mute your audio during the presentation. And if you have any question during the presentation, please type it in the chat box so that we can pick up and also discuss at the end of the session. Okay, thank you. Before we start our session today, let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha first. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Okay, the purpose for this discussion today, we have two prominent speakers to actually share their experience and also to show us what are the patent application process in UiTM. So this is actually to highlight the importance of patents, okay, for especially to commercialize our research product. So we have two speakers. The first one actually from BITCOM itself, and the second one actually another speaker that will be sharing the experience on to actually how the experience to actually get the patent itself. Okay. Before we start our session today, maybe we would like to invite our director of BTU to say a few words. Please proceed, Dr. Faizul.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Profesor Madya, Doktor, Tuan-Puan yang ada dalam talian pada pagi ini dan sudah tentu kepada dua pensyarah amah pembentang kita pada pagi ini yang saya hormati Prof. Dr. Muhammad Hussain Ismail dan juga Dr. Farizah Muhammad Isa kerana kesediaan untuk bersama-sama mencurahkan ilmu perkongsian iaitu tajuk kita pada pagi ini Research and Innovation Ideas into Product Patent ya. Jadi program yang seperti ini saya kira amat baik untuk dikongsikan bersama warga kampus di mana saja berada kerana keperluan untuk kita meningkatkan penghasilan patent berdasarkan hasil-hasil kerja penyelidikan yang kita jalankan. Umum mengetahui kita banyak menjalankan penyelidikan dan bagaimanakah hasil itu dapat dicernakan kepada penghasilan patent. Selain daripada itu juga mungkin kita juga boleh mendengar pandangan penceramah juga berkenaan bagaimana kita boleh menggunakan patent ini untuk membantu penjanaan pendapatan universiti lah. Sebagai contohnya sekiranya patent-patent itu dapat dilisenskan kepada syarikat-syarikat yang syarikat tempatan ataupun syarikat-syarikat antarabangsa. Jadi mungkin resepi-resepi yang ini diperlukan oleh warga dan mungkin daripada awal lagi apabila kita nak mula menjalankan penyelidikan, contohnya kita lah nampak apakah kriteria-kriteria yang ada daripada awal semasa kita nak mulakan dan kita mudahlah untuk kita apabila lengkap penyelidikan itu untuk menggerakkan langkah penghasilan patent dan seterusnya dapatlah lisensikan contoh ataupun kita nak menggunakan dengan kaedah lain lah ya. Jadi saya rasa agak panjang pula pandangan saya itu, cuma saya ucapkan sekali lagi BTU berbesar hatilah mendapat dua penceramah kita pada pagi ini. Semoga perkongsian ini memberikan manfaat lah. Tambah juga hari ini hari yang salam 21 Ramadan kan. So alhamdulillah kita dah memasuki 10 hari terakhir dalam bulan Ramadan. InsyaAllah tak lama lagi Ramadan juga akan pergi meninggalkan kita. Tetapi dengan ramai yang ada pada pagi ini semoga memberikan banyak hikmah dan ilmu kepada pendengar-pendengar kita sekalian. Jadi saya serahkan kembali kepada moderator lah. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you very much, PM Dr. Faizul. Okay, a bit introduction about our talk today. Patents are important for commercialization products because they provide legal protection for invention and innovation. And when a product is patented, the patent holder is granted exclusive right to make, use and sell the product for a certain period of time. So this is the key point for our discussion today, inshallah. And also, we would like to also highlight the importance of patent. Currently, we only have 3 patents granted for UiTM. Okay, so the target we give for this year is actually 13. So we want to achieve 13 because that is the minimum amount we need to get achieve MIRA 5-star. That's only 5-star, right? So for 5-star, even for 5-star, we need actually a limit of 13. All right, so that's why the importance of this sharing session to encourage everyone to apply for patent, to support BITCOM especially. And at the same time, we would like to also highlight the importance of patent for income generation. Okay, maybe the panels can also share on this, how actually patent can create income through fees of licensing and also from patent outright, and also from to establish company and spin-off company and startup. So probably if you can embed this also in our discussion will be very good for UiTM. All right, with that, let me introduce our speaker for today. We start with the first speaker, Dr. Farizah Muhammad Isa, Deputy Director of Legal and Intellectual Property Management from BITCOM. Okay, allow me to read her CV in Bahasa Malaysia, ya. Okay, Dr. Farizah Muhammad Isa merupakan pensyarah kanan Fakulti Undang-Undang UiTM dengan pengalaman mengajar lebih daripada 20 tahun, Doktor. Bidang pengkhususan beliau adalah Undang-Undang Harta Intelek, kontrak serta Undang-Undang TOT. Mendapat ijazah sarjana muda daripada University of Liverpool, John Moores, United Kingdom dan telah meneruskan pengajian peringkat diploma asasi sarjana muda dan sarjana peringkat sarjana di PhD di UiTM. Okey, selama tempoh beliau telah menamatkan pengajian ijazah sarjana dalam harta intelek daripada LLM Intellectual Property Law. Beliau telah dilantik sebagai Ketua Pengurusan Harta Intelek di Unit Jaringan Industri dan Universiti UILC dari tahun 2009 hingga 2011. Setelah tamat tempoh cuti belajar di peringkat PhD, beliau dilantik sebagai Ketua Pengurusan Harta Intelek di Research Innovation and Business Unit (RIBU) UiTM dan seterusnya dilantik sebagai Timbalan Pengarah Perundangan dan Pengurusan Harta Intelek di Business Innovation and Technology Commercialization Center BITCOM UiTM dari tahun 2020 sehingga kini. Okay, semasa berkhidmat di RIBU dan seterusnya di BITCOM, tugas utama beliau adalah memberikan pendedahan dan kesedaran tentang harta intelek dan kepentingan perlindungan harta intelek kepada hasil penyelidikan dan inovasi yang terbit dari projek-projek penyelidikan pensyarah dan pelajar UiTM. Rasa sangat tepatlah our speaker for today to highlight on this the importance of research product to be turned into patents and also to generate income through patents. All right, with that, I would like to, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Farizah to proceed with your presentation. Please proceed, Dr.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, dan juga Dr. Faizul for the kind introduction. And also thank you to BTU for this collaboration. Actually, BITCOM memang plan to have a scheduled awareness talks about patents and IP in general. And we have... Ada gangguan nampaknya. Okay, so this is one of the programs that we usually have Dan selain daripada scheduled patent or IP awareness program, kita juga selalu mendapat jemputan daripada PTJ, cawangan, faculty, college. So kita selalu customize our IP talks to individual groups of participants lah. But for today, we are going to talk about patent, some overview about patent law and also processes in UiTM and also processes in MIPO, because all intellectual property applications or filing must be filed at the Malaysian Intellectual Property Office. So we have to have the internal process and also the external process, because MIPO then would be the body that will grant a patent. So bila dah dekat proses MIPO tu, kita dah tak ada control. Selalunya kita memang selalu berharap lah kita akan mendapat patent grant mengikut KPI yang kita perlu capai. Yes, Prof. Zaibunisa has already mentioned that so far for this year we have 3 patents that has been granted. I think the pipeline ada satu lagi yang kita baru dapat, and hopefully towards the end of the year kita boleh capai lah the 13 granted patents granted. Last year we achieved 23, which is a high number. And just for everybody's information, patent granted ni kita tak ada control. It is patent yang kita dah file beberapa tahun dahulu, yang telah melalui proses examination and all that, and telah pun berjaya melepasi all the requirements that is needed under the law to be granted a patent. Yeah. So without further ado, let's just look at some introduction. Next slide, Has. Okay, first some introduction to BITCOM lah. For those of you who baru mengenali BITCOM, kadang-kadang ada juga yang tanya BITCOM ni apa? Sebenarnya BITCOM adalah satu jabatan di bawah Tadbir Urus Pejabat Timbalan Naib Chancellor Penyelidikan dan Inovasi. So it's we are under the TNCPI office, salah satu daripada jabatan, dan memang di bawah organisation and also Tadbir Urus UiTM under our TNC Penyelidikan dan Inovasi. So basically in BITCOM kita ada 3 unit. Unit yang utama ialah unit pengkomersialan dan technology transfer, ataupun kita selalu panggil TTC, Technology Transfer and Commercialization Unit, which is headed by PM Dr. Fazlina, yang if it's in your screen would be the person the furthest left, ya, Dr. Faz. Dan selain pada itu, unit saya iaitu Legal and Intellectual Property Management Unit, and we also have Publicity and Promotion Unit di bawah Dr. Julina. Dan baru-baru ini kami menerima pengarah baru iaitu PM Dr. Ahmad Sabirin. Rasanya hari ini masuk seminggu beliau masuk ke pejabat BITCOM, and lepas ini kita akan lebih banyak program bersama-sama dengan pengarah dan juga unit-unit BITCOM, ya. Next slide. So the Legal and IP Management Unit, our functions are basically to process IP applications from researchers, basically from UiTM staff. There have been applications from non-academic staff as well. And some of their patent applications were actually granted patents. Yeah, so the creativity and also inventiveness of people in UiTM is not just limited to academic staff members. Ya, ada juga kumpulan KIK yang terdiri daripada non-academic staff yang juga juga memohon untuk perlindungan patent untuk produk-produk atau invention mereka. So when we process IP applications, together with that, there is also IP maintenance, because once you file for a patent, we have to go through the processes after a patent is filed. Ya, dia ada preliminary examination, dia ada substantive examination, and as you might know already, a patent, the process is quite a long time, between 4 to 7 years. Paling cepat patent granted kita dapat selepas 4 tahun, because the process is such, because it has to go through a really rigorous examination by MIPO. So maintenance here means to apply and to respond to whatever notices, adverse report from MIPO. So that's where we need to do some maintenance, and also patent yang telah digrant tu perlu diperbaharui, so that it has to be renewed, so that it is effective or in operation during the time that it is granted. For your information, a patent punya life cycle is 20 years from the date of filing. But of course, so far kita tak adalah renew a patent sampai 20 tahun lah. Kita akan bagi cut off sampai 4 tahun. Sekiranya after tahun keempat tiada aktiviti pengkomersialan dijalankan, dan kita akan lapsekan patent tersebut. Sama ada kita akan tanya the inventor, sama ada dia nak beli patent tu daripada UiTM, because it's all UiTM patents, kan, ataupun sekiranya tidak ada apa-apa pensyarah tidak berminat, kita terpaksa lapsekan, sebab kita pun ada very limited budget untuk IP maintenance. And we also do management of UiTM IP data. So apa-apa data berkenaan dengan intellectual property, copyright, patent, industrial design, kebanyakannya data yang ada di BITCOM ini adalah data copyright, sebab selain daripada patent, copyright juga adalah di bawah kategori other IPRs under section E of MYRA, di mana kita perlukan at least minimum 166 copyright to achieve MYRA 6 star. So that is also under our unit. Since we manage data, we are also an information center. Sama ada pensyarah-pensyarah nak tahu, especially daripada faculty, daripada PTJ, daripada college, yang nak tahu apakah pencapaian harta intelek untuk jabatan masing-masing ataupun untuk PTJ masing-masing. So sometimes they have to do reporting and all that. So kita akan provide information tersebut. Kadang-kadang kita juga jadi information center untuk people who have queries about intellectual property in general. Patent ni apa, copyright ni apa. I have this particular product, I put product in inverted commas, because a product can be a work ataupun satu karya. It could be a content, it could be a process. So we are always open for people to ask us kat mana dia nak apply, or for kategori IP mana yang dia nak apply. Should I apply for patent? Should I apply for copyright? Should I apply for industrial design? So kami sedia membantu untuk memberi jalan atau the correct path lah, which type of intellectual property that you need to apply for. And also our unit support the commercialization process done by unit TTC, iaitu kamilah yang akan mendraft the licensing agreement dan also any related documents for commercialization. Sebab saya dan juga koordinator saya Dr. Helmi adalah daripada Fakulti Undang-Undang yang dipinjamkan ke BITCOM. So kalau kita terlampau bergantung kepada pejabat penasihat undang-undang, kadang-kadang it takes a bit of time. Jadi what we do is we will draft the agreement first, and then we will proceed to submit it to PPUU untuk vetting dan juga untuk their comments lah. So whatever it is, any legal document must be or must go through the legal advisor's office. But we assist them in the sense that kita dah siapkan draft perjanjian tersebut sebelum kita majukan kepada pejabat penasihat undang-undang, ya. So those are some of the functions that we have under the Legal and IP Management Unit. Next, Has. Okay, just to have an overview of the UiTM research and innovation ecosystem, since BITCOM adalah satu jabatan di bawah tadbir urus pejabat TNCPI, this is how basically the research and innovation ecosystem works. So under pejabat TNCPI, everything in relation to research would be under pejabat TNCPI, mainly under RMC. So basically as academic staff, we all do research. We get research grants and all that. Sama ada from gugusan SNT ataupun social sciences, humanities and social sciences. And all this research are managed by the Research Management Center under pejabat TNCPI. And Renew di bawah pejabat TNCPI juga adalah satu jabatan yang membantu to get research grants, to acquire research grants. And research work itself or the research process itself is done by all the COE dan juga high COE yang juga berada di bawah pejabat TNCPI. Jadi from all this research that is going on in pejabat TNCPI, what is the next stage? What is the next step? That is where BITCOM comes in. BITCOM comes in as the technology transfer office. Kalau di universiti-universiti lain, kebanyakan technology transfer office mereka dipanggil sebagai ICC. That is the tech transfer office for kebanyakan universiti-universiti, bukan saja universiti tempatan, tetapi basically semua IPT memang ada satu tech transfer office. So BITCOM is actually a tech transfer office where our main function is to translate all this research to something that can be marketed or something that can be useful to the people. After all the research grants that we get, then it must be some use must be made from it. Yeah. So the ideal situation is that all this research work, yeah, the output of the research should be, the punya end game ialah to be commercialized. For the technology to be transferred, and also for that particular technology, if it is turned into a product, it has to be commercialized. Ya, itu dia punya ideal end game dia lah. Of course, dalam perjalanan nak pergi ke commercialization tu memang banyak onak dan duri lah. I suppose nanti Prof Hussain akan cerita kat kita lah onak dan duri yang dihadapi oleh beliau dan juga researchers lain yang telah berjaya mengkomersialkan produk. Okay, so before it gets to commercialization, kita protect dulu that output under intellectual property. So this is where our legal and IP unit comes in lah, right? So intellectual property, it could be a patent, it could be copyright, it could be a trade secret, yeah. Tapi fokus kita today is on patents, because patents ni dia punya nilai dia lebih tinggi, not just for MYRA, but when it comes to pengkomersialan or commercialization, yeah. So you see that in the research innovation, daripada research it goes to BITCOM and the line follows through to intellectual property and it follows through to commercialization. Now, once upon a time, di BITCOM kita juga manage consultancy, ya. Tapi sekarang ni from 2021 onwards, all consultancy, which is also part of the research and innovation ecosystem, is now done by UTV, ya, UiTM Technoventures Sdn Bhd. So jadi dia dah tak part of us anymore. It's now a private entity. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's get into the focus of our sharing session today. Yeah. Intellectual property is divided into a few categories. Yeah, and the title there is intellectual property law, and this is because all types of intellectual property or categories of intellectual property, for example, patents, trademarks, copyright, industrial design, they are all regulated by a specific law. Ada akta-akta yang khusus untuk setiap jenis harta intelek. Ya? That's why it's intellectual property law. So dalam masa time yang kita ada dalam setengah jam ni, memang kita tak akan dapat nak cover semua. So I just pick and choose certain aspects in patents which is significant to research. Ya? So misalnya patent, ya, kalau patent, akta yang terlibat ialah di Patents Act 1983, for trademarks is the Trademarks Act 2019, for copyright is the Copyright Act 1987, and under industrial design, the Industrial Design Act 1996. Jadi all the requirements yang saya akan bincangkan sebentar lagi, ya, are all based on the provisions of the law. What can be patented, what are the requirements for patent, macam mana kita nak register a trademark, how can a trademark be registered, semuanya adalah di bawah satu peruntukan undang-undang yang khusus. Okay, now I do not mention in this particular slide, kita ada juga trade secret. Trade secret ni dia tak ada spesifik akta. Ada juga pensyarah yang mengkomersialkan produk dan dia tak nak patentkan sebab dia nak jaga kerahsiaan satu formulation dia. Misalnya, for example. So memandangkan patent ni kadang-kadang memakan masa yang lama. So dia kata I nak trade secret sajalah. Okay, boleh, tak ada masalah. Cumanya trade secret ni dia punya protection atau perlindungan dia tak as wide as a patent and not as strong as a patent. If it's a trade secret, then the inventor must make sure that the secret is securely protected. Ya, secret ni senang nak bocor. Jadi the inventor has to find ways and means to ensure that whatever secrets that the formulation yang dia buat, mestilah bila dia nak mengkomersialkan that particular invention, if it is under trade secret, then it has to be tied by a very strong non-disclosure agreement. Ya, hanya agreement saja yang dapat mengikat, especially bila the inventor nak reveal dia punya invention kepada industri misalnya. Ya, jadi there must be good faith and there must also be a strong contract. Yeah, but there is a limitation to protection under contract. Bila contract tu dah breach, dia ada cerita lain pula bila kita nak take legal action against a breach of contract. Yeah, but my point here is trade secret is also part of intellectual property law. Yang paling famous, trade secret yang paling famous yang selalu orang bagi example ialah the concoction of Coca-Cola, the recipe for Coca-Cola, sampai sekarang it remains a trade secret. So trade secret dia dah valued at billions of dollars. So a trade secret can also have a very high value when it comes to business. Next slide, Has. Saya nampak ada soalan-soalan tu, nanti kita jawab. Okay, so sometimes when a researcher is faced with what should I use to protect my invention, sama ada karya, produk, method ataupun proses. So secara ringkasnya, simply, it's if you have a piece of content or media, ini lebih kepada PTJ atau faculty yang berasaskan humanities and social sciences. Basically, it is covered under copyright. You need copyright protection. Yeah, if it is a product technology, chemical compound, pharmaceutical product, for example, most of the time it will be a patent. Okay. If it's a brand name or logo and you want to use this particular brand or logo for commercialization, then you might want to register your brand or your logo or your name or picture or whatever under a trademark. Yeah, but untuk trademark ni ramai yang mohon untuk trademark nama, logo, nama produk mereka dan sebagainya. Tetapi polisi UiTM ialah selagi produk tersebut tidak dikomersialkan, ya, kita tak akan luluskan permohonan untuk registered trademark sebab kos dia tinggi juga. Namanya pun trademark kan. So it has to be used for trade. Barulah berbaloi kita mendaftar trademark tersebut. Having said that, however, tak semestinya kita tak boleh menjalankan perniagaan without registering our trademark. Boleh je. Trademark registration is not compulsory if you want to start a business. You already have your logo and your brand. Most of the time what business people do, bila brand dia dah established, dah popular, and dia nak elakkan orang lain daripada ride on dia punya brand dengan barang-barang yang fake, masa tu baru dia akan register untuk trademark pada nama atau logo mereka. Okay, so in a nutshell, so to speak, this is satu panduan lah how you want to classify the IP protection for your invention or your work. Next slide. Okay, kita nak tengok pattern hari ni ya. Bintang merah keluar lambat pula. Okay. So pada dasarnya, if you read what the patent is, and I think Prof Zaibunisa pun, I see that you've done your homework, Prof? A patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention, which is a product or a process that provides in general a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. So I highlighted these three words, yeah, invention. It has to be an invention. Kadang-kadang kami terima permohonan, bila saya tengok permohonan tu, it's an application for a patent, tapi datangnya daripada misalnya fakulti pengurusan perniagaan. Then definitely I know ini memang salah apply lah. Because although sometimes we feel that you've created something new, probably a new framework or a new index, the output from your research, or a new business model, for example, that will not be considered as an invention under a patent. An invention must be a product, a tangible product, a physical product, or a process. And process ni tidak termasuk business process. It has to be something that offers a new technical solution to a problem. A patent must be a problem-solving product or a process. And the way to solve the problem is to use some technology. So there must be some technology involved in a patent. Okay. And the requirements for a patent. First, it must be new, which means that the invention has not been publicly disclosed in any form anywhere in the world. And this is what it says or is meant by novelty. Tak ada lagi yang ada di dunia invention tersebut. The invention has not been publicly disclosed. There is no public disclosure. Melainkan ada orang buat secara rahsia, buat secara senyap dalam lab dia buat secara rahsia, and then somebody else invents the same thing and dia nak patentkan. So orang yang buat secara rahsia tu tak boleh kata, you infringe my patent because it was not a public disclosure. So you buat senyap-senyap, kita orang tak tahu, it's not considered as public disclosure. So the person who invents the same product will maintain the novelty of his invention or his product. Itu satu. Secondly, it involves an inventive step. This is the second requirement. That is to say that invention must not be obvious to someone with knowledge and experience in the technological field of that invention. So in short, your invention must be inventive. Yeah. Many researchers, bila kita panggil untuk pembentangan patent, untuk permohonan patent ada presentation before a panel. And they focus on the novelty requirements sahaja. So they say that, oh, saya punya invention ni, this and this and that, and then kita dah buat some literal search or literary punya search, tak ada lagi orang buat ni. So our invention is novel. Sebenarnya there's another requirement that researchers need to take into consideration yang sangat penting, iaitu whether your invention is inventive or not. Sekejap lagi saya tunjuk beberapa example what is meant by inventive. Sebab kat inventive ni lah kita selalu sangkut kat MIPO. And MIPO akan bagi satu adverse report mengatakan this particular invention, according to certain prior art documents that they found, is obvious, meaning that it is not inventive. So if it is obvious to someone with the knowledge and experience in that particular field, then it's not going to be inventive. Jadi dia tak akan melepasi requirement inventiveness ini. And the third requirement is industrially applicable. Industrially applicable ni paling senang nak fulfill lah, sebab it means that it can be mass produced. As long as dalam specification patent kita tu, kita boleh cakap macam mana kita nak buat benda ni. And the specification is actually represented in your patent document, then there's no problem. So novelty ni selalunya tak ada problem juga, because novelty ni selalunya requirement yang lepas lah. The second requirement yang selalu tak lepas, and every time kita hantar patent filing, 2 or 3 years later, sebab after 2 years kita kena apply for substantive examination.
Saya masuk Pan. Saya masuk JPN.
Step ni.
JPN saya masuk. Okey.
Kat inventive step ni selalunya ada next slide, Has. Mungkin boleh mute-kan peserta kot.
Untuk bayar pembelian semula tu. Macam mana? Pembelian peribadi.
Okay.
Ya, betul.
Novelty. What is meant by novelty? It has to do very much with prior art. I think kita pun biasa bila kita apply for research grant, mesti ada part yang novelty. Highlight in our grant application. So prior art and the novelty of an invention is very significant to research, especially kita baru nak embark on a research or research project, sama ada a research grant ataupun maybe a final year project.
Sorry, Dr. Fariza. Dr. Alif online. Dr. Alif, please mute sorry. Boleh mute. Sorry.
Nampak dulu kot tak silakan. Betul
Dr. Alif.
Okey.
Dr. Alif, boleh dengar ke? Please mute.
Okey.
Urus setia tak boleh mute kan
Urus setia BITCOM, please mute kan? Host.
Okey.
Okay. Share balik slide, Has. Dia tak perasan tu dia punya mikrofon on. Slide sebelum ni, Has. Back satu. Okay. So prior art simply means teknologi terdahulu or existing technology. And we look at prior art on the basis that what was the prior art before the filing date of our patent application. Yeah. So I put some points in red here. If our research project is within the prior art and the overlap punya areas, there's no point doing research here. I put that as there's no point doing research here because whatever research has been done. Yeah. Sometimes we always hear people say that it's you do not want to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. So at this particular area, your research would not be novel. Yeah. The novelty will only be the part yang I put there, please do research here. So especially if you get research diorang yang banyak kan, it has to be something worthwhile, worth exploring, things which would be novel and which would be new. Yeah. So how do we find out whether our research yang kita nak buat ni or the product that we want to invent is new or not? Yeah. Before that, kita tengok what is meant by prior art. Next slide. Okay. So under section 14 subsection 2, you have to talk some legal punya terminologies juga dekat sini. Prior art shall consist of everything disclosed to the public anywhere in the world by written publication, by oral disclosure, by use or in any other way prior to the priority date. Priority date is the filing date of the patent application claiming the invention. And examples of prior art I have on my screen and my slide would be patents. Patents would mean patents that has already been granted or patents that are pending to be granted, yeah, which could be something or very closely resembling your own invention. Yeah, we can also look at prior art or teknologi terdahulu ni from books, from journals, from advertisement catalogs, from government documents, from illustrations. Dan selalunya what people will do to do a simple prior art search is to just Google dulu. Bila you Google, you akan jumpa macam-macam yang berhampiran. If you use the correct keywords, you will get to as close as whatever that is related to your project or to your invention, right? But to do a patent prior art search, menggunakan Google saja mungkin tak cukup, it's not sufficient. Maybe juga kita boleh gunakan ChatGPT. I'm sure ChatGPT has saya pun tak pernah test lagi ChatGPT untuk prior art search, but I bet it could give you some input. Although ChatGPT ni kadang-kadang yang free punya ni we have to berhati-hati juga. Ada certain times when I ask something, dia bagi jawapan yang tak berapa tepat ataupun jawapan yang salah. So the best way to do patent prior art search is to use certain free databases. You go to the specific patent office punya database all around the world where you can have free access. Yeah. For example, next slide. Okay, Google Patents. Of course, Google ada Google Patents. Saya suka gunakan Google Patents, especially if I teach my students patents, because intellectual property is a subject that is taught in the faculty, and I would make them look for certain technologies via Google Patents. Mula-mula memang semua janggal lah, budak-budak law memang tak ada scientific background at all kan. Saya pun tak ada science background at all. But let's say for example, I ask them to look for, is there a patent for a flying vehicle, kereta terbang for example kan. So diorang carilah guna keywords yang berkenaan. Of course, the terminology that you use really plays an important role if you want to look for a prior art search. But Google Patents, the best thing about Google Patents is that it has all the patent document in most parts of the world. So it has the EPO punya database, it has the USPTO punya database, Japan, China, Korea, yang mana-mana yang relevant, semua akan keluar. So before we embark into a research project, and to ensure that kita tak buat apa yang orang lain dah buat, it is best to read macam kita buat cari literature review lah kan. But instead of just looking at literature review, it is best also to look at these websites, these databases, Google Patents, Lens. Lens ni lagi terror lah daripada Google Patents because it gives you an analysis whether that particular technology ni dah saturated atau tidak. Dia akan bagi you some analysis. Maksudnya AI dia boleh tahan canggih jugalah. Lens.org ni, I think for FRJS pun kita kena refer to Lens juga kan. European Patent Office, also free database. US Patent Office and also Japan Patent Office. Dulu-dulu Japan Patent Office ni susah nak baca sebab dia tak ada English translation, but now they have an English translation. So look out for the invention or your invention that you are about to do research on, ataupun maybe you have already done some research to produce a particular product. Try to find the prior art in all these databases, and you might be surprised to find that, oh, ada orang dah buat. Ataupun the better break for you is that you read the document that from these databases, and most the documents are all patent documents, and you learn from these documents and see how you can get around these inventions that has already been patented or is in the process of being patented. Yeah. So kalau kita dah buat proses A, B, C and D, and kita tengok, oh dah ada orang dah buat A, B, C and D ni. Maybe from their patent document, because the patent document has all the specifications and how that particular product functions. So it is actually a learning tool for people to improve that particular technology. That's why technology improves in such a great speed, yeah, because you learn how people do it and you try to improve it and or do it better. Yeah, so these are the websites that you can use. These are not the only websites, but these are some of the websites that you can use to do a prior art search, a preliminary prior art search. Next, Has. Okay, itu untuk novelty. Kita nak tengok sama ada kita punya produk tersebut novel atau tidak. This is what I mean by inventiveness. The second requirement. Inventiveness is always described as non-obviousness, because for a invention to be inventive, it has to be non-obvious to a person in that particular field. Yeah. So saya ada bagi contoh kat sini. This is also a very popular example orang bagi untuk explain inventiveness. Of course, it depends on each type of technology, the inventiveness standard. So kalau misalnya we take for example, semasa pencil was invented, when pencil was invented, so you have a pencil. I suppose when people discovered carbon, they also discovered that, oh, it can be used as a writing material. So a pencil and an eraser usually goes together, and usually it's separated. You have to buy a pencil and also an eraser. Okay, so sekarang ni we have to imagine that pencil is a new invention lah. So the problem is you have to buy a pencil and also an eraser, sebab salah tulis kita kena erase kan. So the obvious improvement would be to combine a pencil and an eraser. So kalau you tengok the first combination here, pencil lepas tu lekat aja eraser ke atas tu. Okay, so this could be a solution to the problem, but it is not a very wise solution, not a very good solution. It could also be novel, ya. Sebab ada pensel, ada eraser, tapi tak ada lagi pensel yang dah ada eraser. Ya. So it's not a solution to a technical problem. It's tak ada teknologi digunakan when you simply lekat aja eraser dekat atas pensel tu kan. For an invention to be patented, it has to have some technological solution. So people improve it, and then you have a pencil with an eraser sort of dilekatkan dengan cara yang lebih canggih lah. Yeah. Okay, this is a novel product. Again, kita kena imagine pencil ni benda yang baru. It is a novel product because tak ada lagi orang invent pencil with an eraser nicely or neatly placed by some binding material of the eraser. The eraser is sort of bound by this particular metallic strip. Yeah, it is novel, but the question is it inventive? Yeah. Sebab bila kita tengok, kalau kita nak solve a solution, bila kita nak combinekan pencil dengan eraser, kita combinekanlah macam ni. Okay, there's some technology there, but it might not achieve the inventiveness standard. Okay, so kalau kita pergi patent office, yes, novelty pass, tetapi inventiveness pangkah. Yeah, no inventiveness here because it is obvious. Bukan sahaja daripada orang yang mencipta pensel, but sekarang ni pada kita pun it looks obvious kan. So what would be inventive or would achieve the inventiveness standard? Next slide, Has. Has, next slide. Okay. A mechanical pencil. Okay. A mechanical pencil is something which is not obvious, isn't it? Nobody would have thought kita akan menggunakan sesuatu mechanical technology untuk di-applykan kepada pencil. Yeah? You might use this particular mechanical contraption for machines or for some other product, but not a pencil. So a mechanical pencil from a pencil yang ada eraser lekat ke atas tu would be non-obvious to a person having ordinary skill in the art or in that particular technology. Okay, so kalau mechanical pencil ni difilekan sebagai patent, then it would have the inventiveness requirement. It will meet the inventiveness requirement. Not only it solves the problem, pensel kita tak payah sharp, selalunya ada eraser dekat atas, dekat penutup itu, dekat that particular end, and also it comes with lead, yeah, so that bila dah habis kita boleh refill this mechanical pencil with lead. So this is just an example lah. Bila kita imagine in a world where pensel baharu dicipta, yeah, so an obvious improvement will not be able to meet the patent requirement. So that's why kadang-kadang kita kena convert the patent application to a utility innovation. So kita ada patent granted dan kita ada juga utility innovation that is granted. So kalau utility innovation, dia tak payah ada inventiveness. As long as it is novel, yeah, and product tu pun memang meletup in the market, then it can be protected under utility innovation. Tapi malangnya utility innovation ni tidak dikira dalam MAIRA sebagai patent. Ya, dia dikira sebagai other IPRs. So dia duduk bawah copyright tu. Ya, it's considered as the same category as copyright. Padahal kan kita nak apply utility innovation ni, the cost that we have to fork out is lebih kurang macam kita apply for patent. In fact, utility innovation ni memang bawah akta patent pun. Tetapi apparently KPT dia tak terima utility innovation ni as part of patent dalam MAIRA. Alright, itu secara simple explanation of what an inventive step or inventiveness is. Okay, next slide. Dah habis dah. Okay, this is the flow chart of the patent application and granting procedure under MIPO. Ya. So kalau kita tengok dekat MIPO punya website, we can have a clearer picture lah kat dalam ni. Saya screenshot saja dia punya gambar on the flow chart. So starting from the application, dia banyaklah dia punya processes ya. And there is a preliminary examination. Usually preliminary examination is to check whether your invention is novel or not. And then that application is open for public inspection. Yeah? A patent document is actually a public document. And then we have to apply for a request for substantive examination. So substantive examination ni ialah the time when the MIPO examiners will look at our invention and see whether it's inventive or not. Dan selalunya memang kita akan dapat adverse report daripada MIPO untuk kita respond. Kita mesti boleh defend lah. And we have an opportunity to respond to that particular adverse report. So if we get through the adverse report response and the MIPO examiners agree with our justification, yeah, then insyaAllah kita akan dapat certification of grant. Yeah. Dia akan bagi kita patent grant. And all in all, it takes, like I said just now, between 4 to 7 years. Lebih pada 7 tahun pun kita pernah terima juga. Next slide, Has. Okay, this is the process, our internal process. Yeah. Starting from for a patent. This is from our website. So I've put the link here. Kalau you just Google BITCOM pun you akan dapat website kami. And kita ada bagi sedikit penerangan ya berkenaan dengan patent. What is a patent? What is utility innovation? What is patentable? What is not patentable? And also our internal process. So from the point of application through sistem prime, kita gunakan sistem prime untuk semua IP application sekarang. And for patent, we have a patent presentation to a panel. Selalu panel ni kita panggil mengikut teknologi yang akan dibentangkan and also panel daripada luar. Usually a patent agent, sebab patent agent ni dia lebih tahu apa nak tanya masa pembentangan. And then kita setelah difailkan, kita akan terus hantar kepada MIPO untuk difailkan. And these are all done by patent agents lah, UiTM registered patent agents. So the drafting, the application, the filling of the forms and all that semua dilakukan oleh agent, patent agent yang berdaftar. Lepas tu setelah kita dapat grant, kita akan manage the data lah, kita akan masukkan dalam data sebagai salah satu daripada KPI. And also for duration of protection, for patent is 20 years from the date of filing. And for utility innovation, as I mentioned earlier, it is like a small patent. The protection is the same, but the duration is 10 years maximum. Lebih kecil lah daripada bukan lebih kecil, lebih pendek duration dia daripada patent. Okey, mungkin Has kita boleh share paparan sistem prime. Tengok sekejap ya, how it looks like. Okay, so this is the dashboard of the prime system. I think everybody is very familiar with the prime system sebab kita upload kita punya publication dekat sini. So untuk IP, go to IP management. Ya, Aina kalau pergi ke IP management, right? Untuk permohonan patent, pergi ke apply new IP. Okay, and select the type of application, patent. Okay, so seterusnya you have to tulislah apa application title. Setelah dah save, dia akan pergi kepada proses seterusnya. So saya tak nak teruskan dengan macam mana proses dalam permohonan sistem Prime ni. Sesiapa yang berminat boleh panggil tim kami lah untuk selalunya kita akan buat hands-on workshop untuk sistem Prime. So we sit down for about an hour macam tu, and everybody can start applying their IP. Selalunya banyak jabatan dan juga PTJ panggil kami untuk bengkel copyright. Sebab copyright yang selalu banyak orang nak apply kan. Okay, thanks Aina. Let's move back to our presentation tadi. Nak habis dah. I think that's the last slide. Okay, next slide. Yes. Thank you for your kind attention. I hope whatever that I have shared today has been very beneficial. Harap-harap ia sangat bermanfaat kepada semua participants. Tapi pintu kami sentiasa terbuka. Kalau ada apa-apa persoalan atau apa yang kami boleh bantu, sila hubungi kami. This is our official email address. And if you go to our website, ada email personal kami. Dan saya rasa ramai orang pun dah ada kami punya mobile numbers. Can just contact us directly. Cumanya kita bekerja during office hours saja. Kalau kita dapat apa-apa query selepas office hours, kita akan respon hari berikutnya. I think that's all, Prof. My presentation for today. Thank you so much, Prof. Terima kasih, Has.
Thank you, Dr. Fariza. Very informative information, Dr. Fariza, on functions of BITCOM and also the process of patent application, and also a little bit of theory on inventive concept idea for patent application, which is new lah for us to know which is actually good idea ataupun process that you can actually apply for patent. Not all process and ideas you can apply actually. All right, move on. We go to the next speaker, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hussain Ismail, Director of Industry Network Center INC, with presentation title Overview of Patents Toward Commercialization. Okay, a brief introduction about Prof. Hussain. Professor Dr. Muhammad Hussain Ismail is currently the Director of Industry Network Center at the Office of Industry, Community and Alumni Network ICANN in UiTM. He received his Bachelor of Engineering and MSc Mechanical and Materials from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia in 1999 and 2002 respectively. After joining UiTM as a lecturer in the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering in 2002, he obtained his PhD in Engineering Materials from the University of Sheffield in the UK in 2007. His research interests are focused on industry metallurgy, particularly in powder metallurgy and material processing. Prof. Hussain serves as a secretary for the Malaysian Powder Metallurgy and Particulate Materials Association and is a member of the Electron Microscopy Society of Malaysia, EMSM, and the Malaysia Tribology Society, MyTribos. He was secured over 30 research grants, totally approximately 3 million throughout his career at UiTM. He has published over 100 journal articles and conference proceedings both locally and internationally. Prof. Hussain also holds 4 patents. He has 4 patents, Prof. And utility innovation, mainly focusing on material processing. Throughout his research career, Prof. Hussain has received numerous awards and recognition for his research output. He has been invited as speaker for various international and local conferences and has also served as a reviewer for several research articles. Okay, so that's very a lot of things Prof. Hussain have done in UiTM, and also a lot of patents also he has obtained over the past years. So it will be nice to have Prof. Hussain to share his experience in obtaining patent. Please proceed, Prof.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Boleh nampak skrin?
Boleh, Prof.
Right. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I would like to take this good opportunity to thanks Professor Dr. Zabunisa for a kind introduction, and also like to thanks Dr. Fariza for the some insight on the patent applications. I've gone through the patents since 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Some have been go through, and then I've been from patent till copyright. So and some have been rejected. So these are some of the experience dealing with the patent documentation. So for today's sharing, I would like to share some my experience from my innovations and research and innovations from my PhD works, and some of the innovation from past research. Right. So this is the outline of my presentation, some motivation. It's a bit about technology readiness level. I believe that some of us familiar with what is TRL, particularly when we submitting grant, grant such as FRGS. So normally for the FRGS, in the category of TRL 1 to TRL 3. Okay. Then my works on the innovation of dental implant. This basically from my PhD work back in 2007 till now, we still continue with this innovation. Some improvement need to be done to ensure that the sustainability of this project. So what's next is basically I highlight this point just to highlight what actually as a researchers need to do after the patent have been granted. It's not just for the sake of for the requirement for the promotion, but actually it is a biggest responsibility as a researchers to ensure that the sustainability of the patent that we have been granted. Right. So what have been highlighted by Dr. Fariza about the pencil, right? So the pencil with the erasers at the back. So basically, if we talk about this pencil, it actually have been patented. It have been patented about 160 years ago. Okay. So this is about when we talk about innovation, there must be an evolution. So this is I said about the evolutions of the pencils back in 1564, when the graphite is inserted into hollow sticks and used to mark ships. And then in 1600, pencils are mass produced in Germany. And then 1812, William Monroe created America's first pencil, which were hexagonal in shape. And then in 1858, okay, the patented erasers are added to the end of the pencil by Hyman Lippmann. So this is a bit about the history of the pencil, at least when it is patented. Okay, so these are the guy who patented how the schematic diagram, the pencil and erasers in 1858, 160 years ago. So when we talk about the innovation, I believe that everybody have the inspiration, how we inspire to do innovation. So I believe that maybe some of you recognize this guy. Okay, so anyone can identify this guy? Right, we just did a sharing session this last week on the for the competition. So this is a British inventor, industry engineer, farmer and billionaire who founded Dyson. Okay, so since 1979, Dyson has received over 2,300 patents worldwide. So just imagine the patents in 1979, more than 2,000 patents. And these are how I inspire from the work done by Dyson. They made 5,127 prototypes before I got it right. So it means that he experienced 5,126 failures before the 5,127 prototype got it right. So but I learned from each one. Okay, that's how I came up with a solution. So I don't mind failure. So did the inspiration from John Dyson. So basically, the Dyson, they have the how the concept of the Dyson, the motivate him on the ideas of the vacuum cleaner, how they separate dirt, okay, from the air. So this is the concept, how the pattern, the concept of the Dyson vacuum, and these are some of the lineup of the model number 1, which go through the 5,127 prototype. So these are the evolutions of the vacuum cleaner. But now we can have various electrical appliances, okay, from Dyson. So actually, just want to share with you that and the icon office, we had a sharing session. So basically, this concept is, this platform is to create young talent on innovations. So basically, these are competitions about the Gem Dyson Award competition to create young talent, particularly from engineering design, to participate in this. This is a world level competitions organized every year. So we are very fortunate because we initiate this collaboration last year, and this year we hope that there will be more participation from the students, particularly who are taking design and engineering design. Right, Dr. Fariza already highlighted on the several categories of IP, okay, why IP protection is given. So basically, these are some of the points highlighted, okay, why IP is protected, particularly for the industry or big companies, for example, the high-tech companies. Everything that they have invented or the new model, they have a patents to secure their idea. Okay, so first, for the capital expenditure for the new product, R&D, marketing, advertisement, okay, the no freeloaders, maintaining loyal followers, and also profit to the company. So this just to show you some insight on the top 50 countries for patent application in 2021. So by United States, okay, but if you look to the countries, Republic China, so the percentage change from the years 2020, increment of about 24%. So number of patents have been booming in China. Okay, so if you look to the other countries, just about 5%, about 10%, but in China it's about 24%. And then when we talk about the innovation, of course, we need to know everything that we do. We have to ensure that the ecosystem, okay, when it started, and then how to finish it, and then whether it stop or how to continue with the other things. Okay, so basically these are the ecosystem on the product development from idea to the product. So basically it is some symbiosis. It is symbiosis between a creative organization and creative people that produce innovation. So if we have creative people but the organization do not support, we cannot produce an innovation. So that's why the role of the BITCOM to support any element of innovation, particularly for the patent application. So it is interplay between individual creativity and environmental creativity. So this just to share the first patent that I received back in 2019. The application is, since my research work mainly on the material processing, dealing mainly on the metallic materials. So this is the first patent. Okay, actually is done by one master student, completed in 2019. Currently, the student work with Proton. So the concept of this aluminium foam, actually, aluminium foam ataupun aluminium with the bigger porous structure. So the idea is to make it lightweight and at the same time can have several functions, such as higher surface area for filtering system and also for the thermal conductivity applications. And so these are the letters from my IPO, okay, received in 4th December 2019, and some articles highlighted on the significance of the aluminium foam, particularly for the automotive application. So we didn't manage to commercialize this because we are not able to do in mass production. Even though that last time we got email from a company from India asked us to produce in mass, but we are not confident to produce in mass. So these are the things that one of the challenges when, as a researchers, when we have patent granted, in order to replicate the same formulation, whether we can support the demand from the industries. So this is the TRL. Okay, so why the TRL is significant? particularly for those who are applying grants. And then we have to know what is your level, okay, whether TRL1 for FRGS 1 to 3, for the PRGS up to TRL 5 to 6, and then the last one is my lab. So normally towards commercialization. And through BITCOM, after we got IP patented or in the stage of pending, we still can proceed with licensing agreement, namely when we have approached company or a company approach us on the significance of our works, so we can have a mutual agreement between industries and the researchers for this particular MOA, such as licensing, outright technical know-how, royalty, sales, and commission. So this is to show you the journey of my works on the porous NITI. I completed my PhD in 2012, and then I applied for the FRGS. I managed to complete it in 2015, and during that time, I got opportunity. I've been invited by RIBU during that time. BITCOM was RIBU. They have a program called My Symbiosis. Okay, so these are the some of the grant that we received and then completed, and currently we are in the final stage of the e-dana, where the implant that we developed have been inserted, have been applied to some patients for the full clinical trials. So this figure show the machine that located at the company at the MTDC Bangi. So these are some of the achievement and our group, not only from mechanical engineering, we have Prof Rohana from Faculty of Dentistry. So a little bit about my research. Okay, of course, when we talk about research, we need to know what are the problem statement, right? The proposal, we need to know what is the problem statement. So this is a bit about materials that we develop by comparing with the commercial material used for the medical implant. So these are some of the major problems with metal implants, such as titanium have been used widely for the implant, stainless steel. So one of the aspects that we consider is the mechanical behavior. So the mechanical behavior that we highlighted here is modulus Young. So when you look at these three different materials, titanium alloy 110, 210 for stainless steel, is still far compared to the normal bone, where the hard tissue has the maximum modulus Young of 20 gigapascal. Due to the mismatch of the Young modulus between the implant and the bone, it creates a negative effect where we call it stress shielding, reduction in bone density, or call it osteopenia as a result of removal of normal stress. So this SEM figure shows how the stress shield affect the in between the implant and the bone. And then, of course, when we want to see what's the nobility of our works, we have to identify when we do research, okay, what are the current method used by other researchers and what is the uniqueness of our research. Okay, during my PhD works in 2012, we are the only researchers in Sheffield University using the concept of reactive sintering to produce the porous structure. So these are some motivation before I started research on this developing of the porous and ITI. Some of the work they produce a porous structure, but with the different methods. Okay, with the different methods. So for the first figures, you can see the different morphology that can be seen. The second figure replicating the space holder use, and the third figure shows the method of replication using natrium chloride as a space holder, but with the different techniques of polymetallurgy. So these are some of the schematic diagram showing how it works. Okay, how to produce this final sintered part, and the SEM showing the morphological changes of the sample from injected part till the final sintered part. And this figure shows just to show the significance of the phase formation as a result of the sintering process involved during the process of porous and ITI. And then these are the letter award. Actually, during the submission, we applied for the patent. Unfortunately, because some of the article already submitted in journal publication, so unfortunately, it had been downgraded to utility innovation. So these are the things that all the researchers need to know, the strategy, how to patent, to make sure that you are not disclose everything in journal articles. If not, so it won't be accepted for the patent. Okay, that's why some of the researchers overseas, they go for the patent first to ensure that it has been published, then they submit journal articles. So these are the strategy that I have seen some of the researchers from European, from Germany, and also from US. You can see the trend by searching their name. They started publications of the patents. Then in the relative years, we can see that there are a few journals related to the what have been disclosed dalam patent. So these are the second one is actually I see some comment how the fund to patent this to file the patents. So actually there are two sources, whether it come from the grant that we apply. Some others normally for the PRJ they have allocation for the patent applications, and the second one is when we collaborate with industries. Industries can bear for the patent. For example, in my case, for the lithium, for the second patent, it is filed by the company, and then where me and Prof. Rohana as a member in this group. And then these are the another things where the company through BITCOM we file for the patent in Korea, just to secure the because for the patent under my IPO we just cover only market in Malaysia. So if let's say that you want to commercialize the product outside Malaysia, we have to apply patent to other countries. So this is the one that in order to patent to other countries, we have to ensure that the patent have been granted or the patent be applied through my IPO first before we can proceed to international patent. Right, this is a bit about my journey. How do I started knowing this guy? Okay, from lithium. It started when Ribu during that time. BITCOM last time is known as Ribu. They organized the event MTDC My Symbiosis back in 2014. This one at the Intecma. To remember that this program is actually organized by MTDC. The idea was to have a pool of young entrepreneur to commercialize research product by researchers. During that time, it was there are a total of I think 11 or 12, I've forgotten. Researchers have been invited to do presentation in front of this young entrepreneur. The idea is this young entrepreneur will tap some of the idea and then they do pitching. Okay, so out of this, you see that the arrow. So these are the guy that during that time I do not know him, and we still with him together with the in the developments of this dental implant from the method that I've developed from my PhD works. Okay, this is a replication process for my first prototype. I still remember that when we do the prototyping, replication of the material, for example, maybe during your PhD works, you want to replicate the same formulation from UK to Malaysia. Sometimes it doesn't work. So we need to do some modification. I still remember that during the first time, during for the mixing process, we have to mix till midnight, 2 a.m. in fasting month. Still remember that back in 2016. During this time, the company managed to secure a short grant from I forgotten the name of the grant, about 150K for the production of the prototype. And then next to secure the mutual agreement, mutual understanding between UiTM and company, we have MOU with the company in 2017. And we secured mostly fund. Okay, so this one applied by the company where researchers, me and Prof. Rohana, will act as collaborators. So myself involved mainly on the material and processing, and Prof. Rohana focusing on from the dentistry aspect. And then after completion of the first fund back in 2017, we managed to secure another fund, which is mostly R&D fund, more than 2 million. So the first defense September 2019, and then we have the second defense, and then finally, actually the maximum or the ceiling of this grant is 3 million. Actually, the concept of this fund from MOSTI is similar to the My Lab, okay, a ceiling of 3 million. But for this MOSTI fund, with either company and industry can apply. It is a little bit about the innovation, appears on newspapers, and then some during the 2019, some international magazine pick up the news on the news rate sign on the potential of the material that we develop. So these are the when we translate it into actual implant. This is how the design looks like after consideration from Faculty of Dentistry. And then there's a close-up view to show that how the porous structure looks like observed under the scanning electron microscope. And then beside that, we also did comparison how, of course, when we don't want to do the market commercialization, we need to do market comparison, okay, available in the market. For example, I believe that those who have experience doing this implant, the cost for the implant is quite costly in Malaysia. It's about, depending on the clinic, some 5,000 up to 17,000, and some nearly 20,000 for a single single tooth. Okay, so these are some of the company. There's no local manufacturer producing dental implant. These are the comparisons. Straumann is an established company from Switzerland. Just imagine that the cost for a single screw is 400 USD. This one, Zimmer Biomed, 500 USD. So we're expecting that using locally formulation, locally manufacturing technology, we managed to produce the implant with the cost much lower than the commercially available in the market. Okay, so these are the stages involved after the sintering process until. So during my works, I just produce a single part, and we produce a porous structures, and we replicate the same concept, formulation techniques, and we managed to get the porous structure, and then currently we test the patient. So this is the final part. Okay, even though that the final part is just the small one, but it needs support with other devices. So for example, this screw and this one, the top like similar like a torque wrench to ensure that the torque that we apply during implant. Okay, so these are the we have the videos showing the how the drilling process, and then how we apply implant body, then until the completion process. So these are some of the biocompatibility tests to compare our sample with the commercially available. So if you look to all the titanium implant, okay, so we did done by the Faculty of Dentistry histopathological evaluation, comparing between our material, porous and ITI, and titanium grade. Okay, so it shows that the values of this evaluation much lower in comparison with the titanium grade, and which means that our porous is 48% more biocompatible than industry standard titanium alloy. So these are one of the significant findings. We have tested about more than 15 rabbits just to ensure that this test can be conducted. And the things that since we are producing a porous structure, compared with the conventional one, the structure is solid. So the bone can only grow on the surface. So the ideas of this innovation is also incorporation evidence, meaning that the tissue not only grows on the surface, but it can also grow inside of the metal implant. So these are the things that we highlighted in our innovation. Right, so these are the technical drawing, and this is the one that I've shown just now. Okay, so these are this is not my part basically. This is from the dentistry. Okay, so my part mainly on the materials and the processing. Okay, and this they are the we offer 105 participants during this time for the full clinical trial from the fund awarded by MOSTI back in 2020. And then these are some of the award and recognition from the company. Also, this involvement from company and also from our part UiTM. For example, UiTM, we are participated in Pencipta and AINA. We managed to secure special award from AINA Germany and Pencipta special award from Fraunhofer back in 2019. So these are collaborators. So these are the team. So what the unique things about this, all of these 3 members are alumni of UiTM, one from mechanical, from applied sciences, and from business. And 2 of them are currently doing PhD in the different fields. So sometimes we didn't realize that when we collaborate, for example, with Angel, Dr. Ayano Azmi used to be a lecturer on mechanical engineering. Before I did my PhD works, I did meet him for the final year project back in 2005, and then so these are the sometimes we didn't realize that we meet again for another opportunities with Dato' Nur Azmi. So these are the complete set of the dental implant, okay, come together with the tools, okay, so we call it Niti Dentua surgical drill tools. So these are the about the packaging of the product done by the company Nitium. Right. So that little bit about, I don't want to show the videos. It take a longer time, about 5 minutes. I'm not sure whether we still have time or not. That's a little bit about the innovation of Porous and ITI. So we have secured about one grant, and then looking forward for another grant awarded from Korea. So this is another things that how we can leverage collaboration with the industry. It's not just having the MOU. So this is another collaboration. Me and the team led by Dr. Rafizan from School of Chemical Engineering. Actually started from a request from the industries, where the industry looking to formulation which is more biodegradable. So we first visit the company in 2019, and then during this meeting we have identified a few projects, okay, and we started with the internship with the students, internship of student at the Gaia company. And then during that time it was PKP, okay. So during PKP, so many companies shut down, and then some of the company cannot run the activities. So during that time, actually, there's a blessing to our groups, where we do the innovation on the face shield. So we still collaborate with the companies, because there's the specialty of the company on the polymeric materials. So we collaborate on from the other angles. So these are some of the achievement that we have done. We have meeting with Dato' VC back in April 2020. So this is during PKP. We have MOU signing. I think this is the first MOU signed during PKP. And then we have licensing agreement signed in 2020. And then this is our group. There are 3 from chemical engineering: Dr. Rafizan, Dr. Jini, and Dr. Istiqomah. These are from the company. And the sign of MOA last 2 years in November 2021. And these are the Dr. Rafizan on the head for the under the BITCOM. So this is the video. I don't want to show the video, just to show you that these are the product that developed between the company and researchers from UiTM. And this is another project that the innovation that from the during the PKP, during pandemic. So during the process, during this time, we do not know how to do what kind of innovation. So this is a blessing to our group from mechanical engineering, College of Engineering. So during that time, Malaysia 3D printing and design communities are coming together to produce face shield for the frontliners. So we come together, sit down, how we can make full use of our 3D printers available in our faculties. So we have about more than 10 3D printers at the School of Mechanical Engineering. And then and at the same time, we also have of the injection molding machine. We managed to produce a mass production. Just imagine that we did some modification. Some of our staff, especially technical staff, did modification of the available mold, because it's quite difficult to get some of the components. So we did some modification, and within 3 days we managed to complete the mold, and we start with the mass production after 3 days. So these are how we do the ideas of innovation, start from design. During the first time of the 3D printing process, where we bring back all the 3D printers from UiTM to the residential area, and then we 3D printing at home. But we have to know, when involved in the material processing, 3D printing and injection molding, two different techniques, even though that polymer not much different, but there are some disadvantages of the 3D printing. For a single facial, it takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour. But for the injection molding, for one piece of the facial, we can inject it within a few seconds. That is why we managed to produce more than 40,000 of facial, and we have distributed all around Malaysia, particularly mainly in Selangor. So we have collaborated with many agencies, industries, and alumni who help us on these ideas of innovation during PKP. And we got support from Petronas as well. We managed to get 1 ton of the raw material from Petronas. Petronas support us actively supporting raw material and also support from other industries that collaborated with us, for example, 3D Gen and other companies as well. And then also distributed to donation to schools, and these are the IP. So the IP, even though it's not patent, because we cannot patent this because the design is open source. So the only thing that we can go through is the through copyright. So these are the team members, and then from this IP copyright, we use it because the company of Gaia, they want to commercialize this face shield. Okay, so this from CSR to commercialization. So during our PKP MCO, we managed to produce more than 40,000 pieces within 3 months during the first MCO. Then these are the product commercialization done by the company. So already in the website during that time, because the diffusions of this technology change rapidly during that time. There are so many design especially from China with the much cheaper. So it's very competitive. So these are some of the challenges when we are want to commercialize. We have to know what actually in the market, okay, and then how do you want to compete the technology in terms of the design, okay, whether the design is suitable for the different level of people's wearing it, okay. And then beside commercialization from the company, so we have signed a licensing agreement for every sales. There are some commission given to UiTM. And then these are beside the ideas of innovation. So we also collaborate. We are not competing. We share the design to other industries. Okay, so we are complementing during that time. And the original design of the face shield contributed by the university. This is claimed by the Proton. Okay, so basically they do the same process like what we did in UiTM. During that time, in UiTM we are the first university producing mass, and then followed by other institutions. Right. Another things that I want to highlight is when we talk about TRL, okay, technology readiness level, there's a gap between the academia and the industries. Okay, so it has been highlighted there are 5 actions for academia and industry to create innovation. It was presented by Alessandro Rassini. Okay, so how the researchers or academia how to reduce the gap between the researchers and industries. So these are few points that already highlighted by Alessandro Rassini. The first one is on the academia and industry should better understand each other's cultures. It looks like when we both have a different world, academia from different world and industry have different world. So we have to understand each other. And the second one on academic should better understand the real world industrial challenge. Doesn't matter how well written and sound published articles are and how many awards researchers receive. Academic should join industrial conference done by the industry, so that researchers, academicians can understand and the real world of industrial challenge. And then the third one is the practitioners should stay up to date with the state of the art due to the fact that certain research papers do not have an adequate industrial relevance. So some paper publication just for the sake of publication, it had not been applied to the industries. And number 4 is industry should hire more PhD. This is what have been recommended by Alessandro, okay, to make PhD more valuable. So in the relative areas. And then, sorry. And the last one is more joint research project. So this is very important. Academia and academia and industry should conduct more joint research projects. So there are funds offered by the government through KPT or through MOSTI. So we have to work closely, work actively. So that's why some of the requirement of this fund is you need to have IP, or some they require licensing agreement, which has been signed by both university and industries. So that's why it is important to enhance the collaboration between academia and industries toward commercialization. So both have to work actively, and then to leverage any kind of collaboration and to ensure that we build trust between academia and the industries. So these are some of the actually not an achievement, actually just to share with you that how we did collaboration with the industries, even though that the proposal was not successful, because for the MyLab is a very stringent requirement. It have at least 7 to 8 stages before successful. So last year my team managed to only stage 3, another team managed to stage 4. Okay, so but we learn a lot from this experience. Okay, so involvement with the company. So all the company we have here, we have MOUs and we have leverage in terms of from other aspect, internship, final year project together, and other aspect. So as my final remarks, okay, before I end my presentation, to have a creative mindset, it's important. Tools in innovation. To be a creative, sometimes we do not know that that simple aspect can also be highlighted and can be submitted for IP. But if you can go for the patent, it's much better. Okay, so important tool for innovation leads to new product and processes that can sustain our economy. Because when we talk about the technopreneur, when dealing with this technology, it is more towards deep tech. So meaning that the industry have to understand the research or R&D done by the researchers, so that they can sustain the developments of the works. For example, currently we develop the dental implant, but with the material that we have developed, it has a great potential for the other implants such as spinal implant. They're the things that we submitted last year through my lab grant. And it is vital for everyone to have knowledge about IP. So everyone have knowledge about IP, not only for the researchers, but if you go to some other countries like Korea, China, okay, when I got experience evaluating these young innovators, they have been all the innovation, they have patents and they have at least IP. So meaning that the awareness of the IP have been nurtured among this young generation. So it is important to nurture this IP, not only for the researchers, but how do you want to create a creative mindset among the young generation? You know your rights. Sometimes your rights is very simple, but you need to secure it and protect your IP. And some basic idea of innovation, you need to think outside the box. So with that, thank you very much, Dr. Prof.
Thank you very much, Prof. Hussain, for sharing your research ideas related to a lot of things that you have done so far. You have done on bone implants, tooth implants, so all different areas, not really related to mechanical, but you collaborate with other field, to make the idea more applicable for the needs of industry. And 3D face shield, Nice to know how your team actually collaborate with industry. The collaboration with industry is the tool to commercialization. So a lot of things that we done, and I think we're going to come to the end of session after Prof. Hussain's presentation just now. We will open for Q&A session now. There's a lot of questions in the chat box. I will read it one at a time so that we can answer, either Prof. Hussain or Dr. Fariza can answer the question, whoever relevant to the question. Okay, we start with the first one. How much is the overall cost of patent application, and how much is the cost depending on the region? Is there any change in the cost if you want to apply for patent at different region? I think probably that one any one of you can answer.
Okay, Prof, let me answer that question first.
All right, okay.
Okay. When you talk about region, meaning a foreign country, I suppose. So in terms of overall cost, selalunya what we do when people ask, especially bila kita nak apply for budget kan, based on the KPI that we get, we always estimate the whole cost of filing a patent until the patent is granted, about 12,000 ringgit. 12,000 ringgit, because MIPO has their own official fees upon filing, for application of substantive examination, for response, and all sorts of stuff that is the official MIPO fees. But the bulk of the fees for patent is the fee that we pay the patent agent to actually draft the patent document, patent specification, because that is their expertise. Even a researcher who has an expertise in that his particular field, when it comes to a patent document, the how the wording is put and all that, it's quite different from how we write in a journal. So it's a bit different. So we need the registered patent agents. So the bulk is on the patent drafting. So all in all, it's about 12,000. And we're talking about Malaysian application. Of course, if you want to apply to another country, it depends on the fees of that particular country. So kita tengoklah, of course, the cost is different. And it is more expensive than the cost in Malaysia. If we're talking about exchange rate and all that. For Prof. Hussain's team with UiTM, when they applied to file for the patent in Korea, we can see a significant fee, which is much higher than in Malaysia. But fortunately for us, and because Prof. Hussain has a very good collaboration with UiTM Technologies and Berhad, that particular cost is shared between UiTM and also UiTM. So we have an IP sharing agreement between UiTM and also UiTM. I hope that answers the question on cost. So I'm not sure what the cost is for other regions, but it's definitely different from the cost in Malaysia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fariza. Any comment from Prof. Hussain on the costing? Prof. Hussain?
Yep.
Any comment on the costing?
Yeah, for the costing, actually, during the first patent file in 2015, alhamdulillah, during that time it was sponsored by Ribu during that time. And then for the second file patent, actually it is shared between the company. Luckily that during my first patent, two patent, for the one that granted in 2019, during that time, UiTM quite generous during the time, so everything is covered by UiTM. But before it is covered, we need to attend the presentation atau defend our patent, which is the committee from industries. The panel committee are from industries. We have to ensure that our patent have novelty. I also have experience where during defense, the patent have been downgrade, not patent to copyright, because yeah, I've seen that just actually during that time just try my luck to submit patent, whether it is successful or not. Because that one is through my final year project students.
Final project, Okay, all right. So even a final year project results, you can actually apply for patent. So that's something new lah, something new for us. And
at least for the copyright, at least for copyright, I think that's not really big issue lah.
all right.
Not big issue.
Yeah. Okay. Prof. Hussain, you mentioned just now that means company actually sponsored the patent. So all your patents, the first one, of course, from UiTM. The
Yep.
other three, is it all from the industry as well?
Yeah, from the industries.
All right. Okay.
All the documentation submitted to BITCOM.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Only
why it is important. When we sign for the licensing agreement, what is covered in the licensing agreement, what actually agreed by both parties, UiTM and the company.
So I think this strategy can be used by other researchers. You want to
Yeah.
apply for patent, you go for this licensing agreement with them so that the fund for patent can be absorbed by the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, that's good. Okay, we move on to the next question. How, oh, it's the same, get funding and applying patent. Okay, that one is covered. Based on Google patents search and also Lens or RG search, which trend will actually attract to show is the upward trend or decrease trend is more relevant for you to start that research? So usually when you search for trend, you will see upward trend for that particular research, or sometimes you see a downward trend. So which trend? I think this is a question asked by one of our attendees. They want to know which trend actually better to actually do the research on that. Maybe this one, Dr. Fariza, because you were talking about that just now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did mention from lens analysis, you can actually see, I think what is meant by upward trend is it's saturated lah, dah banyak orang buat research. So kalau downwards tu sama ada it's not worth pursuing by the industry, but it doesn't mean that it's not a researchable subject matter lah, I guess. So saturated meaning that it's difficult for you, kita panggil freedom to operate lah. So if there's an upward trend, that means dah banyak patents and also many research have been done and also filed as a patent. So the fear is that when you do something or you embark upon a research where the area is already saturated, you might be infringing somebody else's patent. Itu yang that's the risk lah. So better to find where you have more freedom to operate in your research. That's my personal opinion lah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fariza. Any comment from Prof. Hussain? Which one that you always, or your experience when you're applying for, you're doing your research, when you search for patent, you see there's a lot of patent on that particular area, or there is not much patent on that area. Which one that is easier for you to work with?
I also beside the Google patent, I also search on the paper related, particularly from Google Scholars. So sometimes there are also some they are not highlighting in the patent, but if you go to some other country like US, Germany, they are patent oriented because they know the commercial value of the material that develop or the ideas of innovation that they develop. That's why they invest a lot on the patent first before prior to publication in journal. So but normally for the patent search, I do both searching engine, Google patent and also Google Scholars to ensure that the level of novelty, the level of novelty of the proposed work I submitted.
All right. Okay, thank you, Prof. and Dr. Fariza. Okay, this one question from our participant. Doctor, is it possible for us to register copyright patent without going through BITCOM, like individually direct to my IPO? I think maybe Dr. Fariza can answer this.
Ini masoalan cepu mas lah sebab selalu orang tanya. Okay. The whole idea is whatever SOPs or process flow that we have for IP application, dia punya punca kuasa dia datang daripada kita punya dasar harta intelek UiTM. So according to the UiTM IP policy ataupun dasar harta intelek ni, all work or inventions or products that is created or invented by UiTM staff during their course of employment, meaning it is done while they are working, or it is done during their working hours, or it is created or done by virtue of a grant given sama ada daripada universiti ataupun daripada pihak lain tapi melalui universiti. So all those things, the IP would belong to UiTM. So if the IP belongs to UiTM in that particular situation, in that circumstances, then by right, if UiTM owns the IP, UiTM also must bear the cost of the IP, and the cost cannot be borne by the individual staff. Nanti jadi dia punya pula lah, bukan UiTM punya. So certain people or certain researchers and certain staff, dia buat copyright sendiri because yelah melalui kita, sebab kita buat banyak-banyak kan, mungkin dapat lambat dan sebagainya. Satu, kalau kita nak gunakan untuk kenaikan pangkat misalnya, it will be up to the panel ataupun jawatan kuasa kesepakaran fakulti tersebut sama ada boleh menerima copyright ataupun even patent yang difailkan sendiri under nama sendiri. I suppose you have to look at the subject matter of that particular work ataupun invention. So there is no straightforward answer lah. Boleh kalau you nak pergi buat sendiri, especially kalau it's your individual work, meaning that the work is not covered by dasar harta intelek tadi. Maknanya it's your own personal work, you tak buat dalam masa kerja, tidak menggunakan apa-apa grant ataupun facility dari UiTM. Then it's your own personal intellectual property. Yes, by all means you can filekan sendiri dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau nak file patent sendiri, selalunya lah, sebab patent ni as I said is 12K kan. So apa-apa sahaja patent UiTM kalau difilekan melalui BITCOM, of course the cost will be borne by UiTM. Jadi tak payah nak keluarkan duit dari poket sendiri. And of course ownership dia by virtue of polisi harta intelek kita, ownernya adalah UiTM, tetapi inventornya akan disebut sebagai pensyarah tersebut. And sekiranya produk tersebut dikomersialkan, in Dr. Hussain's case, if I can share in terms of commercialization, if that particular product is patented and then is commercialized, then income daripada commercialization tersebut 70% will go to the inventor and UiTM hanya ambil 30%, walaupun UiTM yang bayar cost untuk patent tersebut. So kita memang nak bagi motivation kepada inventor untuk not just to patent and then you get the patent certificate and then you forget about it, but to go to the next stage, i.e. to try and commercialize that particular patent. So mungkin itu dapat menjawab soalan lah. Tapi kalau pergi hantar sendiri copyright misalnya, dah bayar 200, sebab sekarang copyright RM200 kan. Kita tak akan, you tak boleh claim lah kepada kami untuk reimburse you for the RM200 if you do it yourself lah, kalau it is an UiTM punya ownership. So sebaiknya apa-apa pun mohonlah melalui kami.
Okay, thank you Dr. Mariza. Any comment from Prof Hussain on that?
Yeah, I have no comment.
No comment. All right. Okay. There's one more question. What is the meaning of abandon in my IPO status and how to register back? Ini mungkin
Right. There are several types of status lah. Salah satu daripada status untuk patent ialah abandon. Abandon maksudnya, remember the flow chart MIPO tadi? So there are certain parts in the process that we have to respond to MIPO. So misalnya after preliminary examination tu, we have to apply for substantive examination. So if we don't apply for substantive examination after a duration of time, MIPO akan kira kita abandon our application. Another status is withdraw. Withdraw maknanya we maklumkan kepada MIPO kita withdraw. Another way atau sebab it is abandoned ialah bila MIPO bagi substantive examination adverse report and ask us to respond tapi kita tak respond. Given kita kena respond dalam masa 2 bulan. Bila kita tak respond, dia akan anggap sebagai abandon juga. Dan cara untuk re-register atau register balik, kita tak boleh register balik. Kita kena membuat rayuan kepada MIPO untuk respond, katalah it's a response to the substantive examination. Kita kena buat rayuan dan kita kena nyatakan sebab kenapa kita tak respond before. And of course MIPO akan charge kita lah for selama mana yang kita tak respond tu. Kalau 4 bulan ke 5 bulan kita tak respon, each bulan yang kita tak respon tu dia ada fee dia. Okay, and of course kita kena buat statutory declaration mengatakan yang kita tak respon sebab-sebab ini dan sebagainya. Kita pernah ada case lah yang begini sebab masa tu ada satu transition where kita tak dapat email daripada patent agent, tapi nasib baik time dia tak lama lah, so cost dia tak berapa tinggi sangat. So there is a possibility untuk reinstate lah the abandoned patent, tapi ada di proses-prosesnya lah. Itu maksud abandon lah, maknanya kita yang tak respon.
Alright, okay. Thank you, Dr. Fariza. I hope that answer to the one yang asked question just now. Okay. Okay.
Ada soalan untuk Prof Hussain?
Okay. What is the most suitable platform for us to promote our patents? Ni maybe Prof Hussain boleh jawab ni.
Promote. What means by promote?
Maybe they have dah dapat patent, so they want industry to pick up to commercialize the patent lah. I think that's what it means.
Like I presented just now, we have a program. I know maybe for this year BITCOM, I'm not sure. Last time it was organized by MTDC, my symbiosis program. So the idea was they pull all these young entrepreneurs, and then researchers have been invited to present their research finding, and then this participant will pick up the potential project, then they do pitching. So I'm not sure whether if let's say that if the program can be that because that program was done by MTDC in collaboration with Ribu last time. It depends. Sometimes the readiness of the industries for the innovations done by the researchers. And that's why I said it must have a mutual understanding between researchers and industries. We start the small thing. Now some of the cases we start the small thing. We start with the final project, and then from the final project, start from internship. That's why, for example, our researcher Igaya, we start with the internship first. We start the internship and then to build trust with the industries. We start the internship and then followed by the potential of final project with industries. Because for example, in engineering, the student will do internship during the semester break. So the student have another 1 year academic calendar.
How long does BITCOM take to process?
So at least we can do some groundworks on some fundamental research, how this funding project can help industries. So these are from my aspect. If they say that the platform for how the patent can be commercialized, I believe that BITCOM have strategy on calling some of the potential industries to pick up some of the patent all the pattern from UiTM. I don't know, I'm not sure how to match it. For example, we can make it clusters, for the engineering, so we can identify some of the potential industries. Because sometimes one of the issue is when we do the replication, we can do it successfully in the small scale, but when we go for the mass production, everything's gone wrong. So these are some of the issues. Even in my case, during the first time when we did we have to spend till night to get to do the mixing, and then when we did the injection molding, the material stuck in the machine, and then that is the process of learning. That's why you see why I share the share the slide from James Dyson. They fail us more than 5,000. Kita fail baru beberapa kali je, baru 10 dah give up kan. So hope that we give a positive points to all the researchers. So don't give up. Keep it up with the with your good works. Inshallah, there will be another opportunities.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Hussain. One question here. What is your suggestion to increase income generation for UiTM through pattern commercialization? This one, maybe Dr. Fariza?
Okay, so all these questions on commercialization, sebenarnya kita kena ada satu sharing session lain on pengkomersialan. So it's a bit tight nak cakap kat sini because itu memang kita punya main agenda. BITCOM punya main function is to commercialize UiTM punya IP. So if you read at the chat box, kita akan ada satu event dalam tak lama lagi dalam bulan Mei saya rasa, iaitu BIS Spotlight. This is when kita nak highlight semua inventions, IPs and also produk-produk UiTM kepada industri. So that's one of our strategies for this year lah, to promote UiTM IP. In fact, unit TTC BITCOM telah pun mengeluarkan satu directory of products. And directory of products ni, kita punya mission this year is kita nak buat road tour ke industri-industri untuk promote. Last year kita buat road tour ke semua cawangan untuk promote BITCOM and Cari products. So hasil daripada kita punya road tour tu, we have a list or a directory of products according to cluster. Kita buat macam Prof Hussain cakap, and sekarang ni kita pergi hunting for industries lah. Of course, kita cubalah Prof. Kita cuba Prof untuk promote, and also hopefully more commercialization will happen this year.
InsyaAllah.
Doakan kami ya.
Okay, thank you Dr. Fariza.
Ada some of the question saya dah jawab. Hopefully dapat menjawab soalan lah.
Ya, betul.
Yang mana saya boleh jawab straight answer, I've already written in the chat box.
Alright, okay. There's one question number 10 ni, there's one question here. In Prof Hussein's point of view, memang direct to Prof Hussain, if we compare our university, is there a space of improvement for our BITCOM to play its role much better for our researcher? I mean, compare with other university. Ini soalan, your personal opinion kot, Prof Hussain.
Soalan kebat ni.
Tapi it's just comparison with other university, I think. Yeah.
I personally I haven't studied how the commercialization done from other university, but tak berani nak jawab lah because I haven't done any comparison. But for example, for UKM MTDC, I think UiTM also have BITCOM with MTDC as well. They have the call it as I've forgotten what the terms, incubator for the small production scale, like for my innovations by the Nitium located at MTDC UKM. Because in order to produce this dental implant, we have to follow strict regulation from the medical, forgotten the standards. Okay, meaning that the material, and then the manufacturing follow the standard by the MDA. I forgot the association. Luckily that at MTDC UKM they have a company. Which had been certified. That's why our machine located there, just a small machine, because we want to put here in UiTM, we are not certified. So that's why our manufacturing process done at MTDC UKM. So there's one of the ni lah. Mungkin I'm not sure. We need to develop more certified lab lah. That's from my point of view, more certified lab, so that this small startup can run the activities in small scale in UiTM. And then another one thing is I'm not really sure with the commercialization aspect from because every faculties college, they have the element of income generation as well. For example, in mechanical engineering we have a big machine. We have an injection molding machine that we can produce mass production for the plastic materials. But some of the thing that we can for the product, for the manufacturing side, we cannot go for the patent, but the innovation in terms of the material, maybe we can submit for at least copyright. So we have to work closely with industries. If the industries interested to to mass produce in UiTM, I think the agreement, meaning that the discussion need to be done between faculties, industries, and also with BITCOM. Because I believe that some of the faculty, they have the machine that are capable to produce mass. For example, the machine that we have in mechanical and also applied sciences, also they have a machine of injection molding that capable to produce mass production. Yeah, I think I cannot answer in detail about that question, how to improve from the point of view of BITCOM. But I personally say that if we can do benchmarking, if we do benchmarking with other universities that do commercialization, 100% from research carried out by the researchers. For example, USM, I believe that there are quite numbers of products have been commercialized by USM. So I believe that through benchmarking, we can have some ideas, some insight on how we can improve from BITCOM point of view. So I think that is only from my answers. I cannot say so much about the how we can improve, but that's my personal point of view.
Maybe I can add a little bit, Prof. Zaibunisa. Kita memang pernah buat benchmarking to other TTO office at other universities, especially RU universities. And when it comes to commercialization, kita masalah yang paling penting ialah budget. For commercialization to happen, we need a budget. And BITCOM kita tak ada budget. Kita tak ada budget dan minta budget pun kadang-kadang most of the time tak dapat pun. So we have no budget for, specific budget for commercialization. And for commercialization, dia ada banyak proses. So before the product is out, there is an incubation process. So if you look at UPM, UKM and also UTM, their collaboration with MTDC, they have incubation space. UiTM tak ada. So they have huge, large incubation space yang UKM pun besar kan, Prof. Sin?
Yep.
So we don't have that facility in UiTM. So in terms of comparison, without budget and also facility, memang agak menjadi kekangan lah. But we try our best. That's why kita buat strategi lain lah untuk pengkomersialan. It's it's not easy lah, so to speak. Memang kita ada patent banyak, kita collect data daripada 5 years back. The amount of patents granted, I'm just talking about patents for your information. Kita ada 60 patent that has been granted since 2019 to 2022. And out of the 60, boleh teka tak berapa yang patent yang dikomersialkan, termasuk Prof Hussain punya. Hanya ada 4 saja yang dikomersialkan, ready to be commercialized, and which is demanded by industry. But this is a normal situation for university, because after all we are not we are university kan, we are not in a business of making a business or commercialization. Rasanya ada 4 tu pun okey lah, ada jugalah income generation sedikit for the researchers and also for UiTM. But as I said, kita cuba our best lah. In fact, for IP ni pun kita dah boleh dikatakan nyang-nyang saja, sebab tahun ni kita memang tak dapat bajet untuk IP, Prof. Ini untuk makluman BTU ya. Kita tak dapat bajet untuk IP. So whether or not we can achieve KPI tu, mungkin kita semua kena buat semai hajat lah kot. But we try lah, Prof, we try. Ada sedikit duit balance, but after that budget is depleted, then kita kena garuk kepala sikit lah nak cari budget dekat mana. So
Boleh crowdfunding
as I said, ya?
Boleh buat crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding. Crowdfunding susah sikit, Prof. Crowdfunding kalau ada projek meletup, okey. Atau produk yang meletup.
Alright, okay, thank you Dr. Fariza. We ada a few more questions ni. Ada some yang Dr. Fariza already answered, so I won't pick up that one. How long does BITCOM take to process copyright IP?
Okay, ni saya jawab secara direct. Now that copyright is through Sistem Prime ni for copyright dia ada 2 layer of evaluation. So untuk fakulti, kita ada LO faculty yang akan buat recommendation. But the thing is, if you apply for a copyright and let's say you have co-inventors, ada team members, katalah ada 4 orang. Once you masuk dalam sistem Prime tu, dah put all your details and upload whatever documents that is necessary, please make sure that all your co-inventors accept the application. Kalau tak, application tu tak bergerak. Dia tak bergerak to the next level. The next level is kalau faculty, ada faculty punya liaison officer yang akan make a recommendation. Once recommended, dia akan sampai kepada kami, di mana saya ataupun Dr. Helmi akan buat approval. So kalau everything is smooth, sebab kita buat approval setiap bulan macam tu, usually 1 month tu kita dah hantarlah kepada MyPo, sebab setiap bulan kita akan hantar copyright application kepada MyPo. Because some people tanya, doktor saya dah apply lama ni daripada Disember tahun lepas. So bila kita semak, sebab I tak nampak dekat my paparan I tak nampak kan, kata maknanya belum, there's something, ada glitch lah dekat proses tu. So please make sure that you check selalu dekat inventors declaration tu, semua inventor telah accept melalui sama ada email atau sama dalam sistem sendiri. Kalau tak dapat email tu, selalunya yang tak dapat email ni kalau dia punya co-inventor student. Email student tu for some reason or other server Prime ni tak boleh reach that particular student. Tolong bagi tahu kami lah, so that we can do something about it. Kalau tak, dia memang akan duduk je dalam sistem tu dan tak bergerak. So for copyright, it's about sebulan lah, saya boleh katakan sebulan di internal process lah. Dekat MyPo pula, bila kita hantar sekarang ni, MyPo walaupun dia dah charge kita RM200 satu application, it takes a month, bukan a month, 6 months for them to process untuk bagi kita notice dan juga sijil. Jadi kerja staff saya setiap bulan ialah follow up dengan MyPo, bagi senarai bila kami akan dapat notis-notis ini. Sikit lagi orang MyPo pun akan ghost je kita orang punya email tu. But we keep on following up lah. Sebab kita perlukan ya, especially untuk Mahira, evidence untuk Mahira.
Okay, thank you Dr. Fariza. One last question Dr. Fariza. Adakah permohonan copyright ada kota? Dan
Yang tu saya dah jawab.
Oh, dah jawab dah.
Permohonan copyright memang ada kota. Kalau misalnya kita punya KPI pada tahun itu ialah 200, after 200 kita akan berhentilah. Kita akan bring forward your application to the next year.
Alright, okay. Thank you so much Dr. Fariza and Prof Hussain for your sharing session today. I hope this session will benefit everyone lah, yang especially researchers yang already have some research ideas and eager to patent their product and also go further up to link with industry and commercialize your product for the purpose of income generation for the university and also for you yourself as a researcher. With that, I think we will end our session today. Before that, maybe we can, everyone can open up your camera so that we can have one photo session with everyone. Okay. Please switch on your camera. Dah. Dah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Ramai Oh, yang lain tak buka Alright, okay. I think that's the end of our session for today. Thank you very much for both speakers, Dr. Fariza and also Prof. Hussain, for your time, and also to everyone that spend your time with us listening to sharing session. I hope it will benefit everyone. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in next session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Assalam. Terima kasih BTU.
And BITCOM for the opportunity. Thanks to all.
Thank you very much.
Selamat berpuasa, salam Ramadan, selamat berbuka and also selamat Hari Raya.
Yes, selamat Hari Raya.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Tu tadi. Tidur sekejap. Nasib kat slide. Tak pernah cerita pasal pattern. Adalah campur kan. Tak adalah ni. Ada specific on pattern lah. Ada specific pattern tak pernah present.